Welcome to the Service Drive Revolution podcast with your hosts, Chris, the Bulldog Collins, and Gary Daniel, the G-Man.
Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution. How you doing, G-Man?
Doing good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Little happy hour.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We and for everybody watching, if you're listening, you're fine. Nothing has changed. You're going to be good. But if you are watching the video of this, we are in room, what do you call this, room A?
Room B.
Room
Studio B.
Studio B, where our sales team is and clerical, all that kind of stuff. But they're getting new desks, and so they're in the...
They're in Studio A.
And yeah.
Yes.
And so
you might have seen Studio B because Jair does some of his coaching calls over here. We've done a couple of webcasts in Studio B. So if you're part of our coaching program and you're one of the guys that interact with Jair a lot, you'll recognize Studio B.
Yeah, and if you're staring at me right now, you're going to feel very motivated and feel like taking off and flying to your full potential because there's a jet behind me.
That's right.
And that's the idea of the big, huge wall jet that takes up the whole wall.
Which I was not a fan of, by the way. I was not a fan of the jet. No, but now that it's
sales and performance have gone up since it's been there.
I am feeling the power.
Persuasion, they call that.
Yeah.
Persuasion.
You had it right. You had the eye. I didn't see it.
Even the losers.
I thought that's going to look terrible, but it looks
get
good.
Lucky sometimes. So today we're going to talk about the keys to the financial statement. We're going to talk about your approach to the financial statement, what your mindset needs to be.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some things that you want to constantly look at, that you should constantly be tracking, even before the financial statement prints, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So we're gonna talk financial statement. I think financial statement usually is something that for a lot of service managers is intimidating.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in general. I think a P&L for a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, service managers. I think it can be an intimidating thing across the board.
Well, it might be important to your success.
It's very important to your success.
And I think the number one thing is most of the time service managers don't see the financial, even though they're judged on it. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
For sure.
Maybe I'll tell a story how I learned how to read financial statements and became a past master. But
I'll tell you a story how I learned how to read financial statements.
Are you looking at him? Does he have a beard?
Yep.
Was it Lucas?
Lucas is getting a little stubble over there. He's got a little
really call that a beard.
Stubble trouble happening, yeah.
So
no, it was not Lucas.
That's the fun that we have. Why? I know we missed a podcast last week. We apologize to everybody. We have some exciting news coming too. But why did we miss it? I don't know. We're busy. We got a lot going on. We're creating a lot of new products.
Yeah, I think
But do you remember why we missed it?
I think you were filming. And
I was at a meeting in Phoenix.
Yeah, and I know we had a couple in the can ready to go, and I think we just didn't have enough. We
weren't ready.
Yeah, we were just one shy.
So we apologize for that, but we are back and the fun is here, and we will in the next couple weeks we're going to keep you posted on some really fun stuff that is happening and coming your way. Also, by the way, this show is sponsored by Lipitor and by the best service manager training in the industry.
That's right.
So if you want your advisors to learn how to collect customers and connect, also we got a bunch of books out there. Millionaire Service Advisor, Irreplaceable Service Manager, and Gamification, Playing for Profits.
So 25 today to one customer.
What?
25.
Bless him.
He's got a bunch of stores, bought one for everybody.
Which one?
He bought the Gamification and the Millionaire Service Advisor, copy of each.
Well, I don't know if the name of that is right, because it's about connecting. Maybe it should have been the Millionaire Collector.
Yeah.
But you got to have Service Advisor in the title. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to name a book. But it's
been working.
Oh, it's a good book. I wrote it.
We've been selling a ton of them, so it's working.
Oh, we've never heard a bad review on that book.
No.
Nobody's ever read that book and gone, oh,
No.
that's a waste of time. That, no.
Yeah.
It's real.
I mean, honestly, if you follow the steps in there, you could achieve success. Like it's got good stuff.
They don't even need to buy our online training.
No, they need to buy our online training because
okay.
that's.
I thought you were saying they don't need.
No,
the training.
that is a supplement to the book. If you want to take it to the next level, buy the online training because the online training has been updated since the book. All new content, new modules. It's good stuff.
Everybody really needs to rally together with me and help me in an intervention that we need to do with G-Man here. I need everybody to email him at. We should set up G-Man at chriscollinsinc.com. But he really needs your support. He really needs your help because he thinks he's 17. Jeez. So I didn't know for the longest time that. So you would say, "Oh, I have a longboard." So for everybody, just to bring you up to speed, G-Man lives down in the beach. So we're downtown Los Angeles, but he lives out on the beach. Which beach is it?
Marina Del Rey,
which is right next to Venice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like
so he's
2 blocks from.
One
Venice.
minute he's in a drum circle in Venice and growing dreadlocks, and the next he's riding a longboard. And so you think a longboard, you just think it's like an old guy skateboard. Yeah. No, this thing's got a 400 horsepower engine on it, and so he comes to the gym last Monday, right? Yeah, last Monday.
No, it was Tuesday because it happened to me on Monday.
Was Monday a holiday or something? I don't know.
No.
You just left work on Monday and then went longboarding.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm home. Let's go longboard.
Yeah.
So you went with your son.
Well, the days are long now, right? It's summertime, so the days are long. So I had a little daylight, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go test drive my new board.
And so you're going along. Now tell us the story, and then so I've heard the story 2 ways. I've heard the way you told it, and then I've heard the way your son tells it. And so I will, for the audience, chime in and tell the flip side of it, but go ahead and tell it your way.
So I'm going to unpack the box a little bit, okay? And so the first thing is when we moved to, let's just call it Venice, when we moved to Marina Del Rey, Venice Beach, there's Arbor Skateboards has their national headquarters, like right there at the end.
Is that a cool skateboard thing?
Yeah, it's like a really relatively famous.
Is it weird to you that I've never heard of that?
Skateboard design.
Because you know why? Because I'm 45. That's why. I'm not shopping for skateboards. I don't know what the latest trucks are, wheels. You know when I did know that? When I was like 14.
I'm technically was not in the market for a skateboard, but the store's really cool. They got like all this cool, you'd like it because they got the old reclaimed wood on the outside and inside. It looks really cool. So one day we were just walking by and I wandered in, and the skateboards are really cool looking because they're made out of wood.
But they have an engine.
No. This is a regular longboard. And so this is a couple years ago. I bought it. And so I've had this longboard. I've ridden it a few times and I liked it. But
that's the kind where it's manual labor.
Yeah,
you
just
gotta
push.
Kick your foot.
Yeah, and you cruise on it. And it's a cruiser. It's long. It's wide. It's really easy to ride. It's a cruiser. So fast forward to a few weeks ago, my son got one of those boosted boards for his birthday last year.
That's what they call it with an engine?
Yeah, it's got
But it's virtually a Tesla, right?
Yeah, well, then I got, for Father's Day, I got this carbon fiber deluxe, super fast electric skateboard. And so that cuts us to Monday because I'd never ridden it before.
Is it the same as Blake's?
No.
Oh, that's okay. So Monday, it's Father's Day. I got it.
Yeah.
So do you charge it or what happens?
Yeah,
it's electric.
I got to charge it. Yeah, so I got to plug it in and charge it. So that means I couldn't ride it Sunday when I had it.
So it literally is a Tesla.
This board looks like a Ferrari. Like it is like
no, but
it's
the motor is like a Tesla.
It's like a Tesla.
Electric.
Yep. And then this one's got dual 3,000 watt motors on the back of it. They just got these big giant.
So it's faster
motors.
than a Tesla.
It's fast. It's fast.
Don't the Teslas just have one motor?
Okay. The thing does 27 miles an hour. That's fast.
What you need.
It's fast. So I had never ridden it really, and so I'm on it and trying to get used to it, and it threw me off a couple of times. And so so I told Blake, let's go down the beach path. Famous last words. Let's go down the beach path. So we get out and we're heading down the beach path, and it's in the evening, so there's not a lot of people out there in Venice. But we're cruising along. Blake's in front of me. We're flying, and then there's a grassy area right next to the beach. So it's like the ocean, the sand, the path, and then there's like a little grassy area before the buildings and houses are there. And so there's these dogs running around on the grassy area, off leash, mind you. And so Blake goes by, and the dog starts chasing him. And I was like, oh no, the dog's going to get him and knock him off his board. And Blake,
This is the designer dog.
it's a dog. It's a very large dog.
It's the same dog that you have, right? It's a designer dog.
It's a big
This is
dog.
where the story changes. So the way Gary originally told me the story is like this was a Saint Bernard, but it's the same. It's what is it called? A poodle whittle? What is it?
It's a poodle woodle.
What is it?
It's a technically it's called a golden doodle.
Golden doodle.
Yeah.
So that's a golden retriever mixed with a
Poodle.
Yep. And so that's
Ferocious.
They're
They're ferocious.
That's the dog you have, Romy.
Yes.
And the thing maybe weighs 15 pounds.
Yeah.
It looks big, but you pick it up and like it's
Yeah.
he's the friendliest dog ever.
Yeah.
Never probably has hurt anything.
No.
And so the way you tell the story, it's a Saint Bernard. But when I was talking to Blake, he's like, "Oh, it was a golden doodle." And then you're like, "Well, Romy's a miniature." And I looked this up. There's no such thing as a miniature. You said he was a miniature, and this one was the giant. It's like the Andre the Giant of golden doodle designer dogs. Okay, keep going.
It sure
so
looks
it chases Blake.
It sure looked big from my perspective.
This 35-pound monster, fluffy.
So Blake keeps going. The
And when
dog,
you chase, it's like chasing for fun, right?
yeah, it's just running, right?
Yeah, it's
and
like,
so
hey.
the dog pulls up and stops, and Blake keeps going, and I'm coming up next, and I see the dog, and then right as I get next to it, it looks over and it shoots out right in front of me, and so technically I didn't hit the dog, I hit the brake on the skateboard, which stopped on a dime and just launched me in the air. I went flying in the air. And I landed right on my shoulder.
Yeah. So then Gary shows up to the gym to work out. And for a week and something, he
man.
hasn't been able.
I can't.
You were worried about your arms being too small then. Well, now you can't do anything with your arms.
I know.
Your biceps are going to go away.
Oh,
So
man.
funny.
I can't lift anything now. Like, it just hurts so bad to lift up. But
Oh, the attack of the killer golden doodle.
it'll heal. It'll heal. My pride, though. My pride will not heal.
And so your strategy was you were going to get right back up on that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got right back on it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm a
So
little...
do you think a midlife crisis is coming?
I'm a little easier on the... I'm in the full
Are you
mid...
getting a red Corvette?
I've been in... I have
Does
been...
Katya know you're in full blown midlife crisis?
Oh, she knows.
Why don't you unbutton a couple buttons on your shirt and let's get you a gold chain? Let's go to
man.
Vegas every weekend.
Oh, my God. My poor wife.
She knows you're in midlife crisis?
I've been in midlife
It
crisis
can't be
since I
normal
was
for your wife
39.
to watch you riding around 27 miles an hour on a... And now, like, are we going to get to the point where you're souping the thing up? Like, you're figuring out how to add more power to it because that's how you think.
Oh, man, that's scary. That's scary that you know how I think, because I've already started.
Well, yeah, you're a tech. It's the first thing. How do we get more horsepower?
Yeah.
You can't bore the cylinders out on an electric
I'm
motor.
like, does this
can
thing
you?
have ceramic bearings? Because ceramic bearings
You
would
just
reduce
push-
the rolling resistance.
Do you push more power to the motor? Is that how it works?
No, you can't. You can't up the power level, but you can hack the governor on it,
So you looked into this.
and you can reduce the rolling resistance.
What kind of life insurance?
You could add bigger wheels.
Do we have?
Oh, I have a stick. I'm well covered in case something
What's a
happens.
stick mean?
I have $1 million.
Is that like a rapper thing? Like, I got a stick. We're spending a
I
stick.
don't know. I had a buddy of mine say that one time, and I've said it ever since.
I got a stick.
We were talking about life insurance. He said he had a stick and a half, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I need at least a stick then.
That's hilarious. White gang members from the suburbs.
Yo,
I need a stick from Walnut Creek.
Talking about life insurance.
So funny. I got a stick.
Very hip conversation.
If $1 million is a stick, what's like 100,000? A branch?
I don't know. Twig.
A twig?
I got a leaf. I
Then
don't know.
what's like $1,000?
That's like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
I mean, $1,000 is a lot of money.
That's a weed. I don't
It's
know.
like a leaf. I really think it's a bad idea for you to modify this thing to go any faster,
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, it's got
especially down there where you live.
it's got 4 speed
Constant
modes.
people.
So it's got like slow. It's got eco.
How many times has it been in slow?
Never put it in slow.
Okay, so why mention it?
It's got eco, right? It's got fast, and then it's got this mode called GT, which is absolutely insane. Like it takes off so fast, the board leaves without you. You're just standing there. Like it just goes right up.
How do you control the thing?
It's got a little remote with a trigger on it.
With a wire?
No, it's wireless, Bluetooth.
So when you fell off, did the thing keep going when you fell off?
No, it stopped.
Because you let your finger off the trigger?
It stopped because I hit the brake, so it's down.
There's a brake?
Yeah, it's got a brake. Yeah,
it's not a brake though.
It
just takes off power like the.
No. It's got a brake. Like
what?
it's got regenerative.
I gotta see this thing.
It's got regenerative braking, so when you push forward on the stick, it applies the reverse to the motors and starts slowing you down. So if you hit it all the way, it stops on a dime. It'll take off on a dime. It'll stop on a dime.
Was this created because there's too many kids? The population's too big? We're trying to get rid of kids. Do you wear a helmet?
No, but my wife is like demanding that I wear a helmet.
You should wear a helmet, bro. That's not 27 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's fast. It's too fast. I don't put it in GT ever. It's never been in slow, but it won't be in GT again. It was only in GT once, and I crashed into a dog. So I'll never put it in GT again.
Oh, I wish I could see this dog. It's so funny. It's so funny when I said to Blake, I go, and it was a big dog, and he goes, no. And then he's like, oh, I'm telling on my dad.
Yeah, right. Oh man, my poor son too. He's seen me crash so many times.
How many times has he crashed?
Bad for him. He's come off the board once. So
come off the board or crashed? So different.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You have minor stuff where you just kind of you
got raspberry
and stuff like that. I know that's a crash. In the ground is like
it's hamburger. Yeah. There was blood.
Oh yeah, and it didn't. It went through my sweatshirt and my shirt were over my elbow, and this came through.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It went right through my.
That's like a motorcycle crash.
Oh man, it hurt. It hurt a lot. I'm glad it didn't hit my head.
You should wear a helmet.
Yeah, that's coming.
Let me pick out the helmet.
Flowers, pink.
Yeah, old school like roller derby. That'd be funny. Like an old.
Oh man! So if you're in Venice and you see a guy with a little bit of gray on his beard go flying by on a skateboard, that's me. His wave.
Getting chased by a 10-pound dog.
That's right.
It's so funny. Oh man, I'm crying, laughing.
The
so
life
hard.
of Gary Daniel.
Yeah. So, should we talk about financials?
Yeah, I mean, let's
can't get enough of this midlife crisis.
Yeah, I'm in it.
You're trying to recapture your youth.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have kids anymore, and so I just want to have fun.
You have 2 kids and a son-in-law.
Oh, I have 2 adults.
A future son-in-law.
I have 2 adults. So
he's still yeah, but they.
I mean, I'm responsible for them. They still live with me, or kind of, but.
Well, they're in college.
Yeah, so they're in and out. But yeah, I mean, I'm still taking care of them, so I don't want to do anything bad to myself. But
as soon as they're gone.
At the same time, I'm just trying. Yeah, I'm like, I got a little bit of freedom now. I want to have a little fun. So
you know what people do?
I'm trying to figure it out.
There's other ways to have fun. Than hurling yourself at a sidewalk.
Yeah, I tried golfing. I just
we're too
didn't
young
catch
for
on.
golf.
Yeah. I tried to surf. It's just too cold. I can't get used to the water.
Bodysuit or wetsuit?
Maybe do wetsuit. Snowboarding, you just have to I love snowboarding, but you got to travel too far. It's just too far to drive. So, I don't know. I kind of got
What's your next car? Is it a Corvette?
No, I want the...
Camaro?
No. I really like that Bentley convertible, so...
Man, they have a lot of problems.
Yeah. I don't know if that's my next car. We'll see. I don't know. The Corvette's the Bentley's a nice car. It's it's that achievement car, but the Corvette's kind of more my dream car. Like I see those on the road and they just look so mean. And that's what I remember. That's what I wanted a couple of years ago when I started. I was like, that's the car. I want to go get that Corvette.
Well, yeah, no, and we had that client in Cincinnati.
Yes, God.
That, yeah.
They had
Tom.
Oh man, there was 3 stores I used to go to.
And he had it right on the showroom floor. He wouldn't sell it, which is smart because all the customers from service would come look at it when it came out.
Yeah,
but it's a sexy car.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've never had a Corvette ever.
Just this is not practical, just not at that moment. It wasn't practical, but it's still on my radar. It's still a car I'd like to have.
One time I rented a Mustang in Phoenix actually. And it was like the upsell. I don't remember what it must have been like, I don't know what rental car company it was, but they're like, hey, what do you want? They did the upsell pitch. And I'm like, well, what do you got? And they said they had a Penske Mustang. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. It was a little bit of money, but I get it. Thing is, Recaro seats. Like, and the thing is just like nothing but a can of whoop ass from stoplight to stoplight. And then when I got home, I was like, man, maybe I'll get one of those. Like, I like that. It's just American muscle, like no in between. Can't find it. It was exclusive to the rental car company.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could find it used after that ended, but
right.
Couldn't find one.
Man.
They were nice.
So I read a stat. We have a membership to that Statista thing where they do all these weird reports and you get these stats.
The wrestler Statista?
No, it's like a research website where you can get
We're paying
stats. For that? Yeah, a while back.
What's Google for?
I bought a year subscription to it.
Can we just Google stuff?
Yeah, but this gives you more. This is really data. Like, it's really good data. But anyway, so they email me all the time. They sent me a thing that said the number or a list of the best-selling sports cars. Mustang right now was number 1.
It's a good-looking car.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they did a good job with that car. Those cars are fun.
The Camaro's good too. I don't.
Camaro that's my car. 1967 Camaro RS.
What about the IROC?
Oh yeah, and then I had the 1986 IROC Z.
So the IROC had the Corvette engine, right?
Mine
getting
didn't.
that right?
Mine didn't have the Corvette engine. I think that came out a few years later. I mean, mine was fast. It was good.
My uncle had that.
Yeah.
It was cool too because you like stepped down into it. It was low.
They had the T-tops. I had T-tops on mine. I used to take those off. Man, that was fun. That was a fun car.
Why don't we go classic car next time?
Yeah.
Screw these new cars that can't pair with your iPhone.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I saw a guy in a it looked like it was a 69 Camaro convertible. It was out in the marina. And I was like, oh, man, he was getting gas. And it was mint condition. It had those rally rims on it, with the chrome bezel around the outside and the chrome center cap. Oh, my God. It looks so good. It was beautiful. Beautiful car. It looked like brand new. That'd be the car. I'd take one of those for sure.
Would you smoke a cigar in it?
I wouldn't. I couldn't.
If you want to kill yourself, why don't you smoke more cigars?
I smoke as many as I can right now.
You're not supposed to do that.
I'm getting a
By the way, tune in to the next episode of Service Drive Revolution where we will unveil Gary's recent cholesterol test.
Yeah, and you can hear what Dr. Lau said to me.
Everybody send Gary an email now because his time might be limited.
I might not make the next podcast.
You might not make your next cholesterol test. So financials. I think that too many times managers don't pay attention to the financial and they're making their decisions out of feelings or chasing sales. And I don't know, I've spoken to quite a few 20 groups lately. Mm-hmm. And every one of them, like there's this weird trend where you pay advisors on gross and you tell your service manager, hey, just give me more gross.
Yeah.
And so it was funny, but the moderators and a couple of them go, yeah, gross is up 5%, but expenses are up 11 or expenses are up 14.
Right.
So expenses are outpacing gross.
Yep.
And so unless you're paying attention to expenses and really chasing that, then you're doing it all for naught. You can. There's nothing more disappointing than seeing a manager work really, really hard, do a good job, think he does a good job, and then it loses money.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it happens all the time.
All the time.
And if they just knew or they were paying attention to it, because they're chasing something that isn't the end goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want to drive top line revenue, right? So sales have to go up. You have to in order to to get to your goals. But yeah, you can't do that irrespective of the expenses.
Well, it's funny too because I think in those meetings when I'm talking about that, like we have independent guys that have been in our coaching group or our online training that we've done strategy sessions for, and we've looked at their numbers, and they have 3-4 techs, and they're making 10-15 grand a month.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that have 30 techs, and they're losing 20 grand a month.
Yeah.
And so it's relative to understanding the financials. Bigger isn't better.
Yeah, so I had a call today. It's funny that you say that because I had a call today with with an independent shop, and
Where?
They're actually in Yorba Linda, so they're
they're right here.
Yeah, they're relatively local. They found us. They listened to the podcast. They found us in the podcast. So
Shout out to
Shout
Yorba
out.
Linda.
To Yorba Linda. I don't want to say who they are because I'm about to give their number away, but yeah, they have a relatively small operation and a couple of techs, one advisor, and they're 30% net to gross. And so,
And they're looking to get better?
and they want to get better. So they called us because they want to get better. So they want to learn how to grow and scale, and they have a really good handle on their metrics, but they want to take it and inflate it and make it bigger, of course. And so that's the next move for them. And so they were looking for some help on how to get that done.
So I would rather take that than a big Toyota shop at a dealership that's losing 20 and customers lined out at the street.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
remember one of the very first Toyota stores that I helped and I went into, and they were losing the month they gave me the financial, they lost like 14 grand. And then the month I was there, they lost like 20, and their traffic was way up, and they were going into summer. Mm-hmm. And I figured out it was crazy to watch, but the more cars they wrote, the more they lost.
Yeah.
Because, they were like $40 a ticket. Their hours per hour were like 0.5. And customers literally were just lined up constantly. They had no basic pricing strategy or fundamentals. They weren't paying attention to that.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, more is more.
Yep. Yeah. Let's sell stuff for $99.
Yeah, it's
and then
crazy.
it doesn't make money on it, right? Did you want to ask me what their effective labor rate was?
Oh, you can't have a high effective labor rate in Yorba Linda.
No, that market won't hold it.
No. There's no way. There's too much competition.
It was almost.
Is it going to be good?
Oh my God, it's good. It was almost $160 an hour.
What?
Yep.
It's got to be fake.
Effective labor rate. Yeah, and I mean, and they got a line of customers around the building. They do good work there. People want to come there. They take really good care of customers. They gotta have a lot of good things going on. They just need to figure out how to do that on a bigger scale. That's the only thing they're holding up. And so
That's an easy one.
having those metrics, like you were saying, like it's so much easier to scale when you got the metrics right. You understand how the financials break down to profit, and understanding that very clearly, it's going to make it easy for them to duplicate themselves.
So any owner of a dealership or general manager of a dealership or owner of an independent shop, the first thing they look at when they see a financial is profit.
Yeah, bottom line, right?
So just understand that. Whether you're an advisor, a service manager, whatever role you're playing, that's what they look at.
Yeah.
That's where your eyes go. Mm-hmm. Especially if you own it and you're on the hook.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you're thinking about gross. That's maybe the second number.
Yeah.
But it's not the first.
I mean, I can't tell you how many business owners, shop owners I've talked to, even dealership owners for that matter, that don't take a salary. And then so it's the net profit that really is what's paying them. So if it's a zero or negative, they're just not paying themselves, which is a rough way to run a business,
Yeah, you bought yourself a non-paying job.
Yeah, right. You're working really hard for nothing.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to go. Everybody else in the store is getting paid.
And I think in our industry, fixed absorption confuses that because people think, oh, more gross. But if the fixed ops out expense it isn't fixed absorption.
Yeah, right. So you could have really high absorption, right, and no net because your gross is really high, but you're spending it to get there. So you really have to be careful.
I've never seen anybody with high fixed absorption that wasn't close to 30% net to gross.
Yeah,
you're not going to get there at 10.
No, yeah, it's harder. I mean, you can outspend it, but it's definitely harder.
It's the key.
I mean, when we finally eclipsed 100% fixed absorption, we were at 30% net to gross. That was like the two things were just kind of going neck and neck, and I wasn't sure which one was going to crack the bubble first, and it ended up being that we hit them both almost at the same month.
Didn't you have service, parts, and the body shop hit it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I've never seen before.
All at the same time, yeah.
I'm sure it's happened, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun. That's the fun times. Like when you're clicking all cylinders, that's the fun part,
Okay, then
you can do a lot of fun stuff.
Second thing I was going to say that is the most important number on there is gross profit percentage. Mm-hmm. And that's your effective labor rate and what you're paying your techs. Mm-hmm. And so You got to know that and you got to understand it. But effective labor rate drives profit. You're selling hours, and what you sell the hours for dramatically affects your profitability.
Yep.
So if you're in a market and you're thinking, oh, $60, like you need to get a hold on what your expenses are and understand it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times guys want to argue about, oh, well, you can't get more than $60 in our market. And they're spending $80 an hour.
Right, exactly.
So I'm pretty sure you could get it if you had to.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to know where your break-even point is.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, it's the cost of delivery. So you want, you're going to have, I hear like a lot of guys say, well, I'm 60% of my sales is gross profit, but, you also have below that line, you have the cost of delivery. Right? What does it take to get all that done? Yeah, that's what it takes to get the car fixed, but you're going to have all that stuff below it. You got to pay attention to that.
You got advisors, support, phone bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Uniforms.
Rent. Like you have to factor that stuff in. You can't just sell it and think, if I'm making 60 cents on the dollar, I'm doing a good job. It costs more than that to run the business. I remember working with one of the parts managers that I was friends with when I was up in the parts department, and he was telling me he did a lot of wholesale business, big wholesale business, and so his gross profit was 9% on his wholesale parts. 9%. And he's like, well, I'm making 9%, and it's added, it's incremental business, and it's added and this and that, but we did the math on it, and his carrying costs, his holding costs were 19%.
Yeah.
So that was his break-even point. So he's losing 11% or 10% on every
parts.
It's moving parts. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing you have to think about. With parts, I think it's a little bit easier to calculate the cost and figure that out. I think with service department, because it's labor, it's a little bit more difficult to do that math and figure out what are your true costs, what's your break-even point. Go back and figure that out, so that way you're pricing yourself accordingly.
Yeah. So I think then the third and final thing I would say, and we'll wrap it up, is that you need to be looking at this before the financials printed.
Yeah.
So there's things like policy, personnel, expenses that you need to be looking at. One, to make sure they're right, and two, to keep them in check.
Yeah.
You don't want surprises. There was we're working on this leadership training, and specifically for female leaders, but it goes both ways, is one of the top, how would you say it? One of the most important things for a leader to move up the ladder and become successful is understanding financials. And it's the most overlooked thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But it's really, really important. And I learned it, I don't know, was it 24 or something? I mean, I remember people used to ask me, like, did you go to Harvard? Where did you go? I'm like, no. I just wanted to learn, Nobody wanted to teach me financials, by the way. I had to I had to corner people. I had to trade services.
So I remember when you were teaching me how to do financials, and I was at the desk, and it's a funny thing because the business owners, they hold it very, very close. They don't want to let it out. And it was almost like you'd give me a little glimpse. Here you go, look. Okay, now we got to put it away.
Really?
Because we'd have to write stuff down, and then you'd have to put it in your briefcase because Robert didn't want to see it sitting out on a desk. He didn't want to see it out anywhere. And so you'd put it out. I'd write some numbers down, and then we'd put it away, and then I'd go to work doing the math. But you had this, and you wouldn't let me shorthand it. I couldn't do it in Excel. Literally print it out.
Yeah.
And you had me with a pen and paper, and I would just go through and do the math on all the columns. And scrub and scrub and scrub. Yeah, and I'm telling you, after that,
repetition.
Oh man, I couldn't wait to see the thing after that.
You're not stupid if you can't get it the first time. It's just repetition.
Yeah, and that's a good point, and that's an important point, because I felt really stupid. I looked at it, I had no idea what it was.
It took me. I don't think I started to get it until the fifth or sixth time.
Yeah, tell me what the profit percentage of that was.
Oh, my head hurt. I would just go home and go right to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent months learning that from somebody, and I was exhausted. It's mentally draining, and it was the whole financial for the whole dealership.
Yeah,
and there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, that even more
It's
complicates things.
I for the longest time used to say a financial statement is like a living, breathing thing, because there's so many things that affect each other.
Yeah, it's funny. Today we were talking about a statement on the phone. And we're both like just going through it. Like really, you're like, well, look at that.
Yeah.
What about this? Oh, hang on. If we did the math, like you'd almost do some of the calculations in your head because we've seen it so many times. It's just like you said, repetition is really what makes it stick. You know, you don't have to be a math whiz. You just have to know that really well.
In a Honda store with $130 effective labor rate.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty good.
That's really strong. Really strong. Yeah.
Nobody told them they couldn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Nobody
I
told them
can't
they
wait
couldn't.
to find out what the story is behind that. Yeah, we're doing a couple strategy sessions tomorrow, and so we put them in our little projection.
Yeah.
That's good. So I just to reiterate, for your success and you growing, you don't want to be walking around with blinders on. You don't want sunglasses that are just blacked out. You want to take them off and you want to see things clearly. You want to manage from financial statements. Everything else is feelings. That's your results.
Yeah.
And so manage from results, not feelings. You need to learn financials. And so if you don't understand them, get in our coaching group. We'll teach them to you. It's the very first thing we do. It's the heart of you knowing how to be effective. But if you do know them, refresh yourself and start looking at them more and set some goals for yourself.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't be 40% net to gross.
Yeah. Yeah. We've
We
seen
see it all the
people-
time.
We've seen it. Yep.
But it's not by not paying attention to the financial. It doesn't happen by accident.
No. You got to scrub some more.
It's crafted. It's an outcome that is a goal is set and then it's, accomplished.
Yeah. Every column meets the certain criteria. Each one's important.
So everybody, please just, please support Gary. Email him. He needs help in this midlife crisis because he's going to take down his whole family if he doesn't get some help. So if
man.
anybody's been through a midlife crisis, just send him an email and say, I understand, but it's not worth it. It's
Okay,
not worth it.
for all these emails, I am going to build an inbox that's gman@chriscollinsinc.com just because I don't want to flood my other inbox.
I want to see that. I want access to that. So gman@chriscollinsinc.com.
That's right.
Please help him. He needs your support.
Yeah.
Don't
I'll send you
give him
a-
bad advice either. Don't encourage him.
I'll send you a free picture of my skateboard.
Nobody wants that.
Everybody
Send
wants
him-
to see it.
Send him a video on financial statements. That's so funny. But and then stay tuned for the next service drive revolution that we're going to talk about Gary's cholesterol. It's been a while. We let that topic drop, but it's back. It's back in a big. We have some big news about this.
That's not exactly what you want to say when it comes to your a negative thing in your health. It's big.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Service Drive Revolution.
See ya.